Predatory aggression. So this doesn't come under the normal aggression that we're looking through in this coursework, but I think it's definitely worth a mention. Now, predatory aggression doesn't look like the normal snarling, lunging, growling that you will see in an aggressive dog. It's actually a really silent process at the beginning. It is a natural born instinct in your dogs. Many years ago, before food came in big plastic bags from the superstore, dogs had to go out and hunt and find their own food. Without their own food source, then they would not be able to survive. So nowadays, obviously, we don't need dogs to hunt to that extent, but in the working lines, a lot of the predatory traits have to be encouraged for the dogs to be able to do their jobs, their working jobs. They need to be able to do certain things. Dogs that typically don't exhibit much predatory aggression would be your typical toy dogs or dogs that were just born to be companions. They have no need to have predatory behaviors. Predatory behaviors can be described at it's a sequence of events, and like I say, it's always done in silence, but it usually starts with the dog scanning the environment to find out whatever the prey source is going to be. After that, it's going to be the intense eye stare. Like I say, all done in silence. They can't give themselves away. Once they've managed to get close enough to the victim without being noticed, you'll get the grab bite. After that, they'll normally shake their victim. So in my mind, I'm just thinking a rabbit, just to make it easier. So they're going to shake the rabbit. After that, they're going to do the hold. As they hold, you're going to get the kill bite. After they've done the kill bite, then that's their supper and they're ready to take it apart, eat it. Now, what you're probably thinking is, why are you telling me this? Because my pet dog basically doesn't need to ever display anything about this because they get good food. But I want you to think about everyday circumstances when your dog would typically practice predatory behavior. So a nice simple one would be, you've been to the pet store, you brought them a stuffy. Their first mission for that day is, I've got to de-stuff that toy. It might be 10 minutes, might be an hour or so later, but they have to de-stuff the toy. Buy them a stuffed toy with a squeaker in it, and then they're definitely on a mission to de-stuff the toy and get that squeaker out. That squeaker has to be killed at all costs. It looks amusing, but they are practicing a predatory behavior. It could be your dog likes you to throw a ball for them, so they keep watching the ball until you throw it. When you throw it, they chase it. As it slows down, their body will go lower. As they start stalking it, they're going to grab it, they're going to bring it back to you. They're doing a predatory sequence there. So now I'm going to translate it into what might be an issue for you when you take your dogs out for a walk. So just a scenario could be, you're out walking your dog and on the other side of the road is a small sized dog who's spotted you, and for many different reasons might have decided that its best course of action would be to make you and your dog go away. So this small dog has gone into a high-pitched squealy bark. They might be running towards you and your dog, lunging. It could be the other side of the road. It doesn't really matter. That high-pitched is going to get your dog's attention. So they're running forward, doing lots of erratic behaviors, running back to their owner. Their owner decides to stand still rather than just walk away to get the dog out of the situation, then most likely your dog's going to be trying to pull your arms out your sockets to get towards this other dog. It might not be your dog's intention to hurt this dog, but all I hear is this high-pitched squealing sound. They see this erratic behavior. Depending on your dog's socialization skills, he might just want to go in and just pin the dog down to calm it down. But the dog still won't stop squealing. Perhaps the owner's getting really irate, screaming at you or whatever. And all this starts to add up. And instead of your dog just using bite inhibition, which again will be covered later in this course, that bite gets a little bit harder and he punches the skin of the small dog. And then we know we're really in trouble when it's got to this stage. So the outcome of that situation might not have been your fault to start off with, but you're definitely the guilty party now because your dog has injured the other dog. And we're going to talk about later ways that we can help you with this. It's not all doom and gloom on this post. Some people might say, well, could this happen around people? Absolutely. If you have a high drive, untrained dog, absolutely it could. They don't go out again intentionally wanting to hurt people, other dogs or whatever, but as the antecedent, before the situation happens, everything in the environment starts to add up and they just see this person acting erratically. Most of the time people are calm and just walk away, but you'll get the odd person who will turn into a screaming mess and really make the situation worse. But that could trigger your dog's predatory behavior. They want to calm it down. They'll go and grab, hopefully not punch her again. It depends on their bite inhibition. And again, things could escalate. Never have your dog around unknown children. Your children might not be too bad because they've been raised with your children. They understand their behaviors. But children, they run and they squeal and they flail their arms around and they fall over. Again, to a dog with high prey drive, this is very, very hard to keep under control. And again, it could lead to a bite. So never have your dog off leash around other children unless you're 100% sure that they are safe around children. And then even there, I would err on caution. Hopefully, you've got a dog that's got a lot of social skills. Like I say, it's not going to be every dog that has prey drive this high. Your dog might be a natural, laid back, friendly dog, good social skills, and this will never happen. So just look on this as just like extra information. So how do we get around this problem? There's a couple of different things I've got in mind. Top of the list is you must control, until we get your dog trained, you must have your dog always in a controlled environment. If they're out in the yard, you have to have high fences, not wire ones that they can see through. You can get, if you've got wire fences, you can get cloth mesh that you can put on so they can't see what's going on in the outside environment, which would trigger them to want to go after the prey. If you need to, you're going to have to be outside with them, out on a long line or something, because they still have to have some form of exercise. Just leaving them locked up in the house will not help them in a minute. In at least they have to have an outlet for that energy, whether it's through exercise or mental stimulation. You have to be fair to your dogs. Outside of your yard, house, they must be on leash. You cannot take the chance with them and have them off leash. It just isn't worth it if it goes wrong. If you're worried about your dog's reaction, muzzle them. I love the muzzle. When I work with reactive dogs, I love it when I can wear the muzzle, because I find that when people are approaching me, they see the muzzle and then they just politely go across the road. You get the odd one that doesn't, but it really does help. A muzzle doesn't mean to say you've got a vicious dog. It means that you're helping control the situation they're in. And for me personally, it helps me go, okay, now I can relax a little bit. Training is an absolute must, but that's why you're doing this course, because you want to get to the bottom of this problem. We can do a lot of counter conditioning and desensitizing to your dogs. Cats, I know, are a big problem because they sometimes become the prey of the dog, not always, but we can definitely do a lot of counter conditioning and desensitizing, so we can change the way that your dog views what is happening. The training really helps your dog to take directions from you. They learn that you're there to help them, and when they're stressed, instead of using their brain and doing the wrong thing, they're going to default and turn back to you. Okay, so that's this section. More to follow, and definitely we can get this under control if you're prepared to put the time and effort into it.